Hey everyone, this is Chef Josh here. The purpose of today's video is going to be talking about the proofing procedure for our proof and bake dough. So the first step is going to be using your non-stick white cap spray. You will want to pan up your pizza crust from frozen utilizing your pizza trays. If you have a perforated tray, it works just fine. Whenever you are prepping these pizzas, for the best results, they need to be proofed and baked the day of. If you wanted to prep them the day before, you could pan up your pizza crust the day before, keep it in the freezer, and then the day of cooking, you'll take it out, put it in your proofer, and have it ready to bake that day. So the first thing to keep a note of is whenever you pan up your pizza crust, it's going to look very thin from frozen. Take notice of the dimples, how deep they are. A little bit later in the video, we're going to go to a proofed dough, and you'll notice a little bit of puffiness, a little bit of difference, and that's about as proofed as you want it to be in that second picture in this video. Now there's different things that you could be using to proof your dough. If you don't have a proofing box, you may use a bread box, which is just a non-warming metal container with a sheet pan holder for you to put your doughs to be able to proof. And you could also use your combi ovens if you have that. You can set your combi ovens anywhere between 70 and 100 degrees and put high moisture, high humidity. The big thing for proofing these pizza doughs is you do not want them to go over 100 degrees because that can kill the yeast and it won't rise and proof the way that you want it to. So a big thing that you want to stay away from is not proofing the doughs in your hot holding equipment. Your hot holding cabinets are about 170 to 180 degrees. So while it may work at first, it will begin to kill the yeast. For here with this proofing box, please take note that the temperature is very low at 70 degrees. You want the number to be about 1 or 2, and you want the proof switch on the right side with the blue to be switched on to proof. Your dough should take no longer than 45 minutes to proof. So now here we are at our proofed dough. Notice that it's much puffier. It's about twice as thick as it was before. It doesn't look super puffy, and that's okay. What we want is this, because the dough is going to be pliable. It's going to be easy to fold so that we have a nice pretty design, and also the yeast hasn't gotten to the point that it's overproofed, because it is possible for you to leave this too long and it will overproof. So 45 minutes of proofing time should be all that you need in order to start making your pizzas. Now once we go to making our pizzas, we are going to talk about the different ovens. With your old school convection oven, you're going to want the temperature to be about 425 degrees, and you're going to want the fan to be low for any pizza that does not have toppings. So a cheese pizza will be high fan, and all of your toppings pizzas will be low fan. It's going to take about 8 to 12 minutes depending on if it's a cheese pizza or if it's one with toppings, as that fan will speed up the cooking process. And now moving on to the next oven is going to be your combi oven. Now in the district we have two different kinds of combi ovens. We have a Rational combi oven that you see here, and we also have a Convotherm combi oven. The temperature for your Rational oven is going to be around 400 degrees. Please take note, this picture does show 12 minutes for the time, but the cook time is actually going to be about 8 minutes at 400 degrees. And also notice your fan. There's only 3 bars showing on your fan. You don't want the fan to be too strong on these Rationale ovens because they will blow off all of your toppings. These ovens come standard with some very strong fans, so you want it to be a little bit lower. You do not want humidity whenever it comes to cooking your pizzas. This goes for the Rationale and for the Convotherm ovens. There's going to be enough humidity generated just from the dough cooking, so 0% humidity, y'all. So in this segment, we're going to be talking about folding our dough to give a nice presentation for our pizzas to be served to the students. So we have our dough, we have our cheese. Now one thing you want to keep in mind is your crust should be folded about 1.5 to 2 inches going towards the center. This is after our dough has been proofed. And so once we fold it, what we're going to do is we're going to use our finger as a gauge for that 1.5 to 2 inches spacing. That's going to be between the first and the second knuckle. Notice that I was using my finger to be able to get a good idea of that dimension. Next, we're going to be pinching with the right hand and folding over towards the left hand. For a nice consistent spacing, you're going to want to use your first 2 fingers. The width of them will help to give you nice consistent spacing for those folds as you're working your way around the dough. Now the big thing for folding these pizza crusts is going to be to not think about it too much. The more you think about it, the more you're going to overcorrect one way or the other. So a big rule of this is just not make it too big. Just think less and focus on just one step at a time. One good thing to take note of is how smooth and pliant and flexible that dough is. Earlier in the segment, you will have heard me talking about overproofing and not wanting your dough to proof longer than about 45 minutes. This is part of that reason. If your dough sits too long and it overproofs, it's going to get really, honestly, kind of watery and loose, and that's not what we want. So about 45 minutes is all you need for that dough to be flexible and pliant. For this second half, we're going to be making a cheese stuffed version for that crust. Now, in order to not deviate from the original recipe, the way that we are able to do this is to reserve about 1/4 of your normal portion of cheese for that pizza, and you're going to lay it into a nice clean line on the outside of the crust. When we do it this way, we're not changing the recipe or any of the nutritional information for the pizza. All we're doing is changing where the cheese is placed. So we're able to have this nice folded design, we're able to have a stuffed crust available for the students, and there's no added paperwork or recipe changes or anything for us to have to worry about. Take note that as I'm folding over this cheese, I'm pressing a little bit harder. You want to press a little bit harder so that that dough will grab onto the base of the pizza and it won't fold open whenever you go to bake your pizza. Another thing to keep in mind is that as I'm folding this pizza, I'm moving the tray so that it's always directly in front of me. This is helping me to keep a nice consistent fold and not have to reach so that things look a little bit more sloppy or inconsistent. Make sure that everything is within your reach and it's all within where you need it to be. As you get to the end, you're going to split the difference of the space and then fold so that you have a nice consistent fold all the way around. And there it is.